Jurassic World 3 is supposed to be the last movie of the franchise, or so they say. Trust me, we know at some point they're gonna get a reboot, but for now we have to expect that this is where it ends. So we decided to make a video to give our take on what the scariest scenes that need to be in the movie should be. The biggest part of these dinosaur movies is the fear factor. There needs to be more fear and suspense. We need to have a scene of people being hunted by a dinosaur. And honestly, we think the scene could be executed very well using the Carnotaurus. One thing that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom got right was when it started to execute this plan as we saw the Carnotaurus stalking Mills. The scene was ruined though in the end, and we all agree that the Carnotaurus didn't get its fair share of glory. We actually want to see this animal alone stalk and kill someone. The way it creeps up on people is amazingly quiet, so seeing this executed, if someone were to be caught unawares while on mainland, would be great. Who knows, maybe someone is taking a walk, although this wouldn't be very realistic since the dinosaurs being loose would be reason for people to stay inside, but everyone knows that they always have those people who are oblivious to the world around them or who just disregard the news altogether. Let's say, at night, a young boy is taking out the garbage and his dog is with him. There's suddenly a tear in the bag and some of the garbage is spilled onto the floor. The young boy curses and bends down to pick up the garbage. The boy's house has a backyard with a tree line several yards away. His dog suddenly starts growling, and it would be better if we actually don't see initially the camera panning towards the dog. The camera should be kept on the boy, but you should hear the dog growling while the camera is still on his owner, so at first you don't realize what's making that noise. The boy would turn slowly to look and realize that his dog is standing stark still, looking dead in the direction of the tree line, which of course would be covered in darkness. The boy would try to follow the dog's gaze to the tree line, but see nothing. The dog's hair would bristle on its shoulders. The boy would try to comfort his dog, but the dog would just whimper and growl while backing away slowly a few steps. Never having seen his dog like this, the young boy asks the dog what's wrong, while he stands up visibly afraid. In the darkness ahead, he can hear something large huffing, like a buffalo. At this point in time, the dog would take off running back towards the house and scratch at the door, trying desperately to get in. So the boy would start backing up about now, and he drops the bag and keeps looking in the direction from where he hears something rather large breathing in the night. What would add to the fear factor is if we can't even hear the footfalls of what's coming. When this thing is about 6 yards away, the boy can now see glowing eyes several feet above him as the horns of the Carnotaurus come into the light that's being shed from the floodlights of the boy's back door. The boy doesn't scream, he doesn't cry, he just lets out a little choke of terror before turning around and running back pell-mell towards his door. We don't hear the Carnotaurus roar, we just hear it breathing as it catches up and gets closer to the boy. Before the boy can reach the door, the camera cuts away, just as we unfortunately hear the young boy screaming, which is indicative of the Carnotaurus having killed him. Maybe the parents come home at that time and park in front of their house. As they get out of the car, talking, and head inside their front door, the camera can pan over the roof of the house for us to see the Carnotaurus in the backyard from an aerial shot, dragging the lifeless young boy back into the forest, leaving a small trail of blood. Another scary scene would be that of the Mosasaurus in the waters of a heavily populated beach. Basically, this extended clip, or the extended version of what we saw from this clip in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And lastly, a feature with the compies making their way into someone's house at night and watching helplessly as they stalk a newborn baby in its crib. Maybe, as the lightning flashes, we see how many compies are in the room, as they are stealthily climbing up the baby's crib. Meanwhile, the mother of the baby is downstairs talking on the phone to her husband about him coming home and how happy she is. There would be constant cutaways from the compies' progression up the side of the crib and the mother talking. In a rather slow, smooth shot, 2 compies would stick their head into the crib, and we can see from the baby's point of view the compy staring at her from her feet. She is swaddled and completely unable to move. One of the compies starts pecking and biting at the blanket from the foot of the baby as one creepily makes its way to the head of the crib. The mother downstairs ends her call and is about to do something. The camera cuts away again to the compy positioning itself over the beautiful baby, ready to tear into its face as the baby looks up at it innocently. By this time, all the viewers and everyone, including the parents, are holding their breath for the baby. A shot of the crib is shown with a compy surrounding it on the edges of the crib. The one at the head of the crib, right over the baby's face, leans down over the crib. Right there and then, the door opens suddenly and the mother walks in. She walks over to the crib and you can only see her in the shot until the camera slowly pans back towards the crib to fit both the mother and the crib in the shot. After the crib and mother are shown in the shot, it's apparent that the compies are all gone. For people who read the novel, me included, we fear the worst, but as the camera follows the mother's point of view as she leans in to check on her baby, the music swells and softens to reveal that the baby is fine. The mother smiles and caresses her baby and notices the raggedy, shredded portion of the blanket swaddling the baby. She then looks towards the window, and while she goes to shut it, she pauses when she sees a small muddy footprint of a bird-like creature. That's something we think would be ultimately scary. So, with those scenes, it would add something new to the movie. The Kamsaga of this scene had not been portrayed in the movies, and while being a callback, it would still be something new for the film version of the dinosaur franchise, eliciting that fear, that raw suspense and fear from the audience, but not going all the way dark. The Carnotaurus scene would be more realistic, and this would erase that annoying trope of kids being untouchable in dinosaur movies. And let's face it, everyone wants to see the Mosasaurus scene with it hunting down people. What do you think would be the scariest scene in Jurassic World 3, or which scene would you want to see in a Jurassic Park movie? Thanks for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.